Hello, everyone, and welcome back to another episode of the Women's Sports Matter podcast. My name is Gianna Castro, and I am your host. I've got a few housekeeping things before we begin. First of all, I want to say huge congratulations to new head coach of Gotham FC, Scott Parkinson. He was a guest on the show back in January, beginning of this year. So huge shout out to him. He is a fantastic coach, and I'm glad that he was picked to be the replacement. And second of all, I was just on another podcast talking about the NWSL, which comes out, it came out today, but this is going up on Tuesday next week. So it's called the Final Third Podcast. I'm talking about all things NWSL with my new friends, Jack and AJ. So I'll link the podcast down below. Please take the time to listen to it. I had a lot of fun doing it. And yeah, but let's get started with today's episode. I have a really special guest on today. Would you care to introduce yourself, please?
Hi, everyone. My name is Adrian Smith. I am a lot of things. I play women's tackle football, women's flag football, and I am also the creator of Blitz Champs, a super fun football card game for kids and families.
That is awesome. I want to go right into talk about football because I just want to know how you got into football. Was there a certain team that you watched growing up or maybe a certain player that got you interested?
Yes. So my parents tell me that it all began at the young age of 3 when I would watch television, watch the NFL, and I was enthralled with the game. And as far as my favorite team, it's the San Francisco 49ers. I live in New York, so no offense to my New York Giants, but I do love the San Francisco 49ers. And my favorite player is Jerry Rice, the greatest male wide receiver. I'll put it like that. I'm still working on becoming the greatest female wide receiver.
That's awesome. I'm not much of a football person myself. A lot of my family members are, rooting for the Bears. We're all based in the Chicago suburbs. My uncle weirdly is a Cowboys fan. Yeah, exactly. He listens to the show, so I can't wait. I'll be like, hey, Uncle Tommy. It's so weird because my grandma kept telling us that my mom's two brothers are football fans. My mom doesn't care about football, but so my uncle Steve grew up like a Cowboys fan and then became a Bears fan. And then my uncle Tommy grew up a Bears fan, but then became a Cowboys fan. So I want to know where in the world this switch happened. But yeah, a lot of people in my family like football. I'm one that's I don't know. It's just not been something that I take the time to watch. I don't really watch a lot of sports anyway. I have the show, but
right.
The amount of times that I'll be actively watching a game is I don't want to call myself out, but I don't really watch a lot of games recently, especially with school starting. But is your team, is there a way to watch any of the teams that you're on? Is there a YouTube Live, Facebook Live?
Right. So I play for the Boston Renegades, and we are we just three-peated. We brought 6 national titles back to the city of Boston, and we're super excited because as of July 24th, we became back-to-back champions in the WFA, the Women's Football Alliance. So if you want to watch our games starting next year in 2022, we always stream our home games on Facebook Live. And then whether we're playing in DC or who knows where we'll be playing, Baltimore, Philly, Pittsburgh, etc., then it will be a matter of following those teams or going to those teams' websites and seeing where they're streaming the games.
Recently, there's been a lot of I don't want to say disconnect. There's a better word than that, but it's just been so hard to watch women's sport in general. The NWSL has a thing with Paramount Plus, but then you got to buy a subscription to that. Or the Wnba also is on ESPN or ABC or CBS, but then there's also Amazon Prime, and then you have to buy that. As much as I love these partnerships taking place, I kind of wish that they would just make a deal with a TV network or, not have it like be such like a thing where it has to be so forced on them to do it. I wish they'd be like, oh, this is the thing that's happening. Let's put it on TV. Do you think in the future that your league will eventually go on national television, or there might be a network that wants to put you guys on TV?
Yes, absolutely. And just to speak to it, I mean, sports is any other type of entertainment. So it all comes down to economics. And typically, male sports have been more supported in terms of promotions, in terms of the amount of draw that male sports can bring. So their economics, they're operating at a higher economic level. That's why it's easier to see, say, an NBA game or to see a men's football game, because they've just had more time in the business to establish these relationships. When you're dealing with women's sports, it's still nascent, it's still new. NWSL, the National Women's Hockey League, getting a deal. So it's going to take a little more time for these sports to establish themselves and to get the relationships needed in terms of media, so that you can easily turn on your television and view them. In the meantime, I'm super grateful for the ESPN3s of the world, for YouTube Live, for Facebook Live, to at least provide some type of platform where women's sports can be viewed. With more time, absolutely. I believe that the women's tackle football games, the entire industry will be televised on more mainstream platforms.
I recently went to Athletes Unlimited softball in Rosemont, and
how was that?
It was such it's such a fun time. AU softball, like I just made an episode about it. The whole Athletes Unlimited league is just fantastic, and honestly, I would like to see them dabble in football and maybe a bunch of other sports. They got 3 sports going on: lacrosse, softball, and oh my god, volleyball. I was blanking on it for a second. Good morning. But they were nationally televised on FS1, and I was surprised when I looked at the graphic. I was like, is this a mistake? Like, it was just, it's their second season and they're already on TV, or maybe they were last year too. Like, I want to know how that came to be so quickly. There was just like,
it's a matter of negotiations. It's a matter of being able to provide or present a sports product that a network says, oh, this looks legit, this looks new, we think it will be a draw for our viewers, we think we can sell commercial space during the sports program. That's how it works. No magical formula really, but it does take a lot of dogged effort on the parts of Athletes Unlimited, the NWSL, and some of these other nascent sports leagues and organizations. Just a matter of time and a whole lot of effort.
I like your thinking. Yeah, just a matter of time. We'll see it. Maybe I'm gonna give it like 3 to 5 years. I feel like in 3 to 5 years there might be some progress enough for like, oh, maybe we'll see you on ESPN one day, you know?
Absolutely. I do have to say that the Boston Renegades, there was a fantastic documentary called Born to Play done about our team, and that aired on ESPN last year, I believe June or July 2020. So steps are being made.
I want to go back to you saying three-peat, which, by the way, congratulations on that. That's like,
thank you.
Such a huge accomplishment. I want to ask you, like, throughout these 3 past seasons, has there been any changes in like team spirit? When you first won, it was like, okay, that's cool, we got 1 title, and then the second year it's like, oh, okay, I see what's happening here. And then when you actually won again, what was that like?
Right. So the Boston women's football team is a dynasty at this point. So the first national championship was won in 2010. I played with Boston in 2011 when they won their second championship, and that was my first. And so now, after having won, the team's won 6 national titles overall, there is this sense of, at this point, we're always looking to be in the championship game. Like, that's the goal. I played, when I was in New York, I played on another team, and the goals were different. It was, okay, let's have a winning season. Let's get to the playoffs. But definitely now that I'm playing in Boston, the mentality is so much different. There really is a championship mentality where even in the off season, when you're training for the championship game. So if you are constantly looking at the championship game being your destination, it drives you differently in how you're approaching every aspect of preparation and of playing the game. So I would say year to year to year, it's only driven us more to excel in every area possible.
So I also see on the notes that I was given that you also play flag football. Can you talk about obviously there's such a big difference between tackle and flag, but what's the biggest difference for you?
I don't get hit in flag football. So going into flag football, I just know there's a little more security in terms of safety. And I do have to remind myself that after I catch a pass in flag football, I can't just go stiff arm, the defender. I can't just hit her in the face. So that's pretty much the biggest things for me as a skilled player as a wide receiver. Things that are similar, I'm still running my routes hard. I'm still running routes with precision. You still have to catch the ball and run and score. I think overall the differences, though, in terms of the types of players that are playing flag, you don't necessarily have what we call your bigs. So you don't necessarily have the women who are 6'2", 6'3", 250 pounds playing in flag, whereas they are absolutely necessary if you want to be successful in tackle. And shout out to the Boston Renegades O-line. Those are my girls. I love them. They are the foundation upon which our offense flourishes.
Shout out to them. Yeah, I'll give them a nice little clap. Yeah, shout out to them. So did you start both teams around the same time, or was like you were with the tackle teams and then you're like, oh, maybe I want to do this, or was it the other way around?
So I had played, growing up, two-hand touch with the boys in the neighborhood, got introduced to flag in high school, played a little bit in college, but I didn't get into organized football until I became an adult, and that was tackle. And then tackle, I did 2 years of tackle, which kind of led to flag because people started to see my talent. And then I was invited to be selected to be a member of the U.S. Women's National Flag Football Team. And so representing my country was amazing in Canada. And I've been a 5-time member of that team throughout the years. So yeah, tackle first, which led to flag.
And so these teams, are they spread out across the country, or are they like more like in one side of the country?
So tackle football, the Boston Renegades, we play in the Women's Football Alliance, and there are about 60 teams across the country in that league. So it's definitely a national organization. And in terms of flag football, it hasn't been as structured. So you'll have teams throughout the country that are at the grassroots level. So for instance, here in New York City, I could find 7 to 12 other women. We would form a team, and then we would compete throughout the year in various tournaments. Whereas tackle football is definitely more organized. It's more of what you would think of in terms of like the NFL, where you have a league and there are tiers within that league and there are conferences, and those teams play certain teams every year based on geographic location.
Flag football sounds like a frisbee for me. There's not really like a setup thing, or at least for high school, and it's more of you go to tournaments and then there's nationals at the end of the year. That's how it was for me in high school. College, I'm kind of taking a break from frisbee right now because school is important. Where did you go to college?
I went to undergrad at Washington University in St. Louis, and I went to graduate school. I got my MBA from Wnba Business School.
And so your college experience, did you participate in a bunch of like club sports or maybe clubs, or did you just, focus on school?
So I actually played basketball for WashU my freshman year, and then I kind of split off from that and just was playing recreational softball, basketball, and flag football.
Way to stay active. Oh, I wish I would be doing that right now. I wish I had the time for that. It's like I didn't think, as a 19-year-old, I'd be as busy as I am today, but it turns out that it's possible. It's possible. School, like, oh my God, I started last week. I didn't think it'd be that much, but I'm staying home, doing 2 years of community college, gonna transfer somewhere.
Excellent.
Yeah, somewhere. My family has been tired of my antics when it comes to college. I should make a whole episode about that, and then they'd understand and they stop making fun of me. I want to talk to you about your game Blitz Champs. You want to talk about that for a little bit? Talk about the best parts of the game, the reason why you created the game, what inspired you the most for it.
Sure. I love Blitz Champs. It's and not just because I created it, because it's really fun. Okay. So at the end of December, it was like December 2015. I was sitting in my office and I'm like, I want to do something. I need something. It would be great to replicate the fun, excitement, and strategy of playing flag football, playing tackle football into a different format, into a different medium. So I said, well, why not like a card game? And so I literally went to bed and woke up the next day and I had the idea for Blitz Champs. So over the course of 2016, I worked with the Columbia Business School Network to find certain people that had experience in different areas. And I bounced ideas off of them. I had this rudimentary prototype because I cannot draw. So I tell people that if I didn't happen to be cute, I never would have made it out of kindergarten because my little arts and crafts skills are just non-existent. So I literally cut up some index cards, wrote out the function of each card, and then tested it with people. And then it was working. Gianna, was working and people were enjoying it. So then one of my Columbia Business School alums put me in touch with a really great illustrator, right? Someone who's gifted, right? This guy, Jason, he used to do work for Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, Marvel, Pokemon, a lot of these top tier brands. And so I worked with him to come up with the card illustrations for Blitz Champs. And I wanted it to be inclusive. I wanted women to be in the game. I wanted men to be represented in the game. I wanted every color of the rainbow to be represented in the game, so that if whoever picks up the card, if you're Japanese, if you're Haitian, if you're Russian, if you pick up a card, if you pick up Blitz Champs, you see yourself in this game and you know that football is for you and Blitz Champs is for you. So that's kind of where it got started, and it's super easy. The goal is to be the first person to score 21 or more points. Green cards get you points, red cards take points away from your opponents, and yellow cards keep the game in motion.
How'd you come up with the name?
Oh my gosh, great question. That took forever. So I was able to come up with the game, the strategy, the mechanics like overnight, but I had to search and search for the name of the game because you need something that can be defended, right? You need to be able to trademark it. You need to be able to get the handle across all social media platforms. So Instagram, TikTok, what else? Snapchat, every single platform. I wanted personally the name of the game to be the same throughout, so there wouldn't be any confusion. If you're on Facebook, then you can easily go to Instagram. But if you're on Snapchat, then you can go to Twitter, and the name would be the same. So it took forever to come up with the name, and I kept trying to play with words that related to football and being great at football. So Blitz from Blitzkrieg, from the move Blitz, and then Champs, I changed the S to a Z, again, to help with trademarking purposes and to match up with the Blitz at the beginning.
That's really cool. I'm not like, when I was younger, I was a big card person, like baseball cards, card games. Now that I'm an adult, I'm like lost touch. But this is such a really cool idea. I tried to understand things like Pokemon or whatever, and it's like it goes like it doesn't make sense to me. But I understand this. I looked through the website, looks awesome. please go buy Blitz Champs. It looks like such a fun game. The creator is a fun person.
Thank you.
Like this is a product that's meant for everyone. Anyone can play this game. What's the age rating on this game?
So I like to say Blitz Champs can be played from the ages of 7 to 107.
7 to 107.
Yeah. And so that you always get the smart aleck. Oh, well, my grandpa's 108. Does that mean he can still play? And I'm like, if your grandpa's 108, tell me who it is so I can just send him a deck for free. And yes, he can still play.
One thing that I've never understood, like growing up, is why these games have age ratings in the first place. Was there like a specific process for this that you had to decide? Oh, like 7, or did you just pick a number and be like, yeah, okay?
No, it wasn't arbitrary. So for Blitz Champs, it involves mental math, which is great. And which is why Blitz Champs is also used as a math learning tool in elementary and middle schools. So you need to have some concepts of addition and subtraction, which generally starts around the 7 years old. Kids can handle that, but I've had some customers that have had, 5-year-old kids and 6-year-old kids that just get it. They know how to add, they know how to subtract, they understand the rules of the game, and they rock out, and they love Blitz Champs.
That's awesome. I wish I was that good at math when I was young.
Right? Don't we all?
I wish I was good at math at all. I mean, taking a math class to graduate, who knew that was like a thing that you needed in college? I hate math, but I feel like I would be able to play this game just fine.
Yeah, well, you know what, Gianna, if you play Blitz Champs, you're going to love math. You'll have a new appreciation, a new love for the game.
I don't know if I want to risk that.
You'll have to change your major. So you'll become a math major.
Oh no, that all my friends are like STEM majors, kind of, except for me. Like, I'm a journalism major, so it'd be like I'm joining their side, and I don't know if I want to risk that for me. I've always been this person like, no, I hate math, don't want anything to do with math. Sure, I'll take this one math class so I can graduate. And now you want me to love math?
I want you to love it. I want you to play Blitz Champs, and you will develop a love for it. You don't even have to try. You just have to play Blitz Champs, and it will happen naturally. It'll be an organic love will develop. And the next time we talk, you'll be like, I changed. I'm a math major. Forget journalism. Or you'll be like, I only write exclusively about mathematics.
I don't know if I want to. Math?
Don't be scared. Don't be scared.
I am scared. Math is scary. Like, I have a love-hate relationship with math. I blame my college. They made me almost like, so I was failing this one class my freshman year, and they placed me in this awful math class that I should have never been placed in. And so now I have a W on my transcript.
Wow.
Ever since then, it's like, okay, let's take this gen ed math class and get out of here. But math. I'm gonna tell my friend about this later when we FaceTime. He loves math. He's a finance guy, likes the stock market. He's gonna laugh at me and be like, ha, 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 I told you, or whatever, something like that.
Awesome.
I want to talk about traveling when it comes to playing flag football and tackle football. I see here that you were flown on the New England Patriots private plane to Canton, Ohio for your 3rd straight championship. What was that experience like? And can you just talk about in general, like what happens when you guys travel? Do you take a bus? Do you take vans? Stuff like that.
Yeah, that's a great question. And normally, through any other regular season, we will travel via bus as a team. Some players will make their own arrangements in terms of whether or not they want to drive or they want to fly to a game. But generally, we have a team bus when we're going to away games, whether, again, we're going to Pittsburgh or we're going to Washington, D.C. But due to the pandemic, travel was it was everyone's responsibility to get to the game, to get to our games by ourselves. So when Mr. Robert Kraft surprised us with the generous offer of flying the entire team out to Canton, Ohio on the Patriots, team plane. It was absolutely amazing. I mean, I couldn't have imagined this. And the plane was a dream come true. The seats were super wide because, again, you've got NFL players who normally ride on this plane. So I had all kinds of space. I'm sitting there and I had space for my bag. It was being in like first class times 10. And we're literally on the Patriots plane. What can I say? I'm stammering because it was such an amazing experience.
Private flying, the best kind of flying, especially when it's from an NFL team's, private plane. That was so cool. When I saw that on social media, I was like, whoa, like, when do you see this happen?
Exactly. Exactly.
Travel for women's sports teams has been like really bad. Like, I see tweets all the time about, oh, this WNBA team is on my plane. And then like, you just wonder, like, when you travel, it's so important that, you have enough room for your legs, or just like in general. I'm short. I'm 5'2". So when I go on a plane, I'm absolutely fine. Maybe I don't like sitting in the middle seat, but like, I have no problems. People that are like 6'5", right, they have all sorts of problems, and it's super, super, super upsetting. So travel obviously needs to change too. I should make an episode about that, because that's just another thing that bothers me. There's so much that it's like, I need to talk about this. Why haven't I talked about it yet? But I'm really happy that, the New England Patriots did a thing for you guys, and yeah, gotta great. Love a little pop-up on my screen about, how much time we got left. You know what? I don't want to listen to you, Zoom. Okay, you don't control my life. You don't control this podcast. But we're gonna do lightning round questions because the time does matter here.
Let's go.
Is there a book you're reading right now, or a book that you liked in the past that you would recommend to the listeners?
Yes, Caste, Caste, by Isabel Wilkerson. It discusses the roots of racism in the United States and how that affected the world, and basically why things are the way they are right now.
Do you have a favorite WNBA team?
I got to go with the New York Liberty.
Awesome. Yeah, I got a UNESCO jersey from last year. Yeah, it's a nice seafoam green. Love the new upgrade of the logo and everything like that. Like, it looks so much better.
Yeah, totally.
So much better. Is there an NWSL team that you root for?
Not so much. No, I'm pretty much wrapped up into either basketball or football.
Can I suggest a team for you?
Go for it. What do you think?
The Chicago Red Stars.
Okay, all right. Chicago Red Stars. Gotcha.
I just gotta shout out my hometown team.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Do you have a favorite song that you like to warm up to, or like any song you like to listen to on your way to games?
Yes, and it's horrible. It's for my ratchet self, my alter ego, who I call Phoenix Fuego. She likes to listen to Worst Behavior by Drake.
I've not heard of that one, but
don't worry about it.
I know who Drake is, though.
Yeah, that song is what it says, Worst Behavior. So, next.
What's your favorite color?
Color green.
Green.
Yeah.
No one says that, honestly. Like, every time I ask, it's like some blue or maybe a red. My favorite's teal. Teal's a fun color.
Yeah, well, Kermit and I are alone because we know it ain't easy being green.
Is there a favorite music streaming platform that you use?
I only really rock with Pandora.
That's wow. It. Okay.
Yeah.
I tried it. My mom listens to stuff on Pandora. I'm like, just use Spotify. It's so much, like, you pick what you want, because she doesn't have the premium. I yell at her a
Yeah.
lot for that, but
No, I'm good with Pandora. I got all my stations based on what mood I'm in, and it just suggests, and we just keep going. So yeah, I'm good.
okay. Can I suggest Spotify for you?
Yeah, I know. I'm Spotify. I'm just not, it's not with it. That's it. I do a whole bunch of other things. Like music isn't necessarily what I'm trying to win in everything, I guess.
What's your favorite shoe brand?
Oh, geez. What type of shoe are we talking about? If we're talking about cleats, I'm really loving Nike. And I went from a mid top to a low top this year, and it's serving me very well. We're talking heels. Oh my gosh. What would I choose? There's so many great shoes out there. I don't know. That's a tough one right there. I can give you
I really stumped you.
I can give you cleats, but I can't give you like dress shoes. I have some nice Cole Haans. Yeah.
Okay. I like Nike cleats too. I use them for when I played frisbee and soccer. They're nice. They're really old though. I need new ones like really badly. When it comes to headphones, what brand do you use?
Bose.
I like Beats. I mean, I'm using like Sony.
Yeah, I never wear anything that big because when I'm working out, I need something smaller when I'm training.
Yeah. Well, this is for looking professional.
Great.
My interview. No, I'm kidding. These are for my computer, but I use like the tiny Beats. They hook on my ear, for when I go running and stuff.
Excellent.
Like that. I know you said there's like a lot of different football teams within the country for tackle. Is there a city that you would like to see it be expanded to, or like a team go somewhere that there isn't one yet?
That's a great question, but with like 60 teams,
you think it's covered?
Everywhere. They're everywhere.
No expansion needed.
Team Mars, that'd be great if you get some aliens to come down here and play.
Okay. And final lightning round question. What is your favorite part about Boston?
The people, my teammates.
I was just in Boston in the spring. I was there for a few days, and it's such a lovely city. I love it so much more better than New York. I just I don't know. New York's
always number one though.
New York for me was, well, I went when I was the summer before my sophomore year of high school, and it's just I went to a Mets game. The Yankees weren't in town that week, but it was Mets Dodgers, so it was a good game. My mom used to be in the luggage business, so I'd go down for the luggage shows in New York City, and
nice.
So I got to meet some people, go around the city. We did the boat tour, so got to see the Statue of Liberty, all those other highlights of New York.
Excellent.
But Boston, I like Boston better.
Okay.
I like how you live in New York, but you play for Boston. You ever feel like there's a rivalry within yourself, or people are like, but you play for Boston, but you live in New York?
It's like any other professional athlete who might live somewhere but play for another team.
But you know what I'm going with, right? Kind of, rivalry type thing there within the two cities.
Not anymore. Maybe
not anymore.
But yeah, not anymore. It's become too normal for everyone around. They just know Adrienne lives in New York, but she comes up for practices and games.
You're just chilling in another city.
That's it. I'm worldwide international player with the passport.
Nice. All right. So where can people follow you on social media, and how can they follow Blitz Champs as well?
Sure. So for me, I'm on all the social media platforms. My handle is Adrienne V10, number 10. So ADRIENNETHE 10, Adrienne 10. And as I mentioned before, Blitz Champs is on all platforms, BLITZCHAMPZ.
I will put all that beautiful information down below in the description. is there anything that you want to shout out before, we end here?
I just really want to thank you for the time and for doing this podcast of Women's Sports Matter and just giving a platform to the female voice when it comes to the sports world.
Thank you for that. All right, so time for my ending spiel. This is beautiful. Hopefully we have time for this. I'll go really quick. If you want to follow me on social media, guess what? You can. I'm on Twitter and Facebook, same handle at WSM Podcast. And on Instagram, you can find me at Women's Sports Matter. Hopefully by the time this episode goes out, I'll hit 100 followers on Instagram. I'm at 99 right now. It's that beautiful little number that's just eyeing me like, you haven't hit the big 100 yet. Okay. I'm also on YouTube. It's the Women's Sports Matter podcast. I'm trying to start that up again. All right, time for political nonsense. There is a recall election happening in California, and I'm going to suggest nicely that you vote no, because, don't be a fool and just, I don't know how many California listeners I have. I think I have, a good amount. So if you can vote, there is time to register to vote, I think still, maybe, possibly. I don't know. There's also a link down below. It's vaccines.gov. If you haven't gotten vaccinated yet, please go get vaccinated. Delta is god awful. So please go get vaccinated. Link down below. It takes 2 seconds to put your address in, find where you can get vaccinated. Again, there's a bunch of other resources linked down below. Thank you so much for listening to another episode of the Women's Sports Matter podcast. My name is Wnba. Thank you so much. I'll see you next time, folks. See you later.